Tansy Rayner Roberts. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to chat with you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, you are part of the upcoming GenreCon 2025, which is
I
very
am.
exciting. Can you tell me just a little bit about yourself first before we jump into GenreCon?
Sure. Well, I'm an Australian science fiction and fantasy author, also a crime author. I write under the name Livia Day. And I was first published in 98. So I'm a bit of a, I'm a bit of a dinosaur myself these days. I've been
It
around for
means
a
you've
long
got a good
time.
backlog. You've got,
I do. I do. I'm very much an indie author these days, so I publish almost all my own books. I had various times when I was publishing with traditional publishing, but yeah, no, these days it's all me. So so I publish my own books. I'm very big on crowdfunding. That's one of my
Mhm.
favorite things. And so, yeah, I run Kickstarters to fund my projects and to make them sometimes to make them more exciting. Yeah, and I
We
also have a long, yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, I'd recently had a guest on that was discussing Kickstarters, and I think that it can be an interesting way to get your book out there. But there's also that whole network of people you can access that you can't usually. Like, I think it can actually be a really good marketing plan to do something like
It
that.
is. It very much because it is about pre-sales in a big way. Like it's about getting people excited about the project before the project is done. And especially if it's a standalone book, like if it's a project you want to do for the just for the love of the project, it's a way to get people excited. It's also a way to gauge interest. Like if your Kickstarter doesn't fund, then maybe that's not the right project.
Oops, that would be hard to find
Because
out.
if it doesn't have an audience, it is a hard way to find out. But yeah, and it's all changed a lot. Like publishing used to be a tiny fraction of what people did on Kickstarter. It really wasn't set up to do
Mm,
Kickstarter. It was much better. Like it had much better resources for people in the tech industry or people with more art heavy projects like graphic novels and that sort of thing. But just publishing a book didn't really have as much space. And then a few years ago, there was the whole Brandon Sanderson thing where, one of the most successful fantasy authors in the world set up his own Kickstarter for those four novels he wrote in his spare time. And it just broke everyone's expectations of what you could do with Kickstarter and as in publishing with books. And so now I think people go to Kickstarter for books in a way that they weren't really looking for
mm.
that like 10 years ago.
So it sounds like
So
you've got lots of experience in the publishing industry.
I do.
And that is part of the reason you're part of GenreCon next weekend.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want
I
to
think
tell
so.
me a little bit about what role you're playing in GenreCon?
Sure. Well, I'm one of the nice things about GenreCon as a convention. I haven't been for quite a few years. I'm from Tasmania, so I'm pretty much I think this is pretty much since the beginning of COVID. I've just been hunkered down. I haven't really been traveling for a while. So this is very exciting. But I've been to genre cons in the early days of the convention, and one of the things that's exciting about it is that it brings together authors and publishers from lots of different kinds of genre fiction. It's not just a science fiction or fantasy convention. It's not just about romance or crime. It brings us all together and lets us have, I think, different conversations than we do if we're all in our separate bubbles about the industry, about where publishing is going, what books. It's very a professional directed for people who are interested in the field of books and publishing, not just like a lot of conventions have space for readers and fans, and this isn't as much about that. It's very much for people interested in the professional side of it. Yeah, so I'm excited to be coming in. I'm going to be on a few panels. I'm interviewing Eugene Bacon, who's one of our really exciting African Australian authors.
It's
We're doing an in
amazing.
conversation that I'm really excited about. In fact, she was just announced as an Otherwise Fellow, which is the Otherwise Award is a really important international award about writing, gender, and sexuality. It used to be called the Tiptree. It's got a huge history behind it, and it's very rare for Australians to get noticed for something that's significant. So I'm excited to talk to Eugene. We're going to be chatting for an hour. It's the nice thing about this. You come to an event and you're on panels with people that you'd love to sit and have a chat with.
Mm.
And sure, you've got to do it in front of, an audience, but that's fine. It's an excuse to talk. One of my long-term best friends from the publishing world, Trent Jameson, who's a Queensland writer, we haven't seen each other for years, and we're going to be on a panel together. It's
That's
great.
exciting. How
I'm sure
fun.
we can say things that are interesting for other people, but we might
As
just be
long as
talking
you
about our
just
kids for
don't,
now.
yeah, forget everybody's there and just have a chat
No,
and everybody's like, hello.
no. But also, one of the things that I've been asked to do is on the Friday before the convention proper starts, they're doing a lot of one-day workshops for specialty subjects. And this comes back to mine is on art and the crowdfunding author. So that's my special
Oh, very
subject.
cool. Okay.
And so it's about working in partnerships with artists to create unique merchandise and rewards and just cool objects to tie in with your books to help make it more exciting. And that's something that I do through my Kickstarters, creating all kinds of fun book merch, everything from pins and candles and stickers to, handmade quilted items or, working with artists to get original illustrations based on your work and all that sort of thing. So I thought that would be a really fun thing to work on for a day with a bunch of other authors and basically inspire lots of other people to go out there and do lots of work, which is kind of my superpower. I give people great ideas and then they go and they have a lot of work to do.
Keeping people busy and out of mischief. Uh,
Yeah, it's a public service.
it sounds like a really exciting workshop to take part in. And is it a full day?
Yeah, yeah, it's a full day. I haven't done it as a full day before. I did it as part of a fantasy festival here in Tasmania at the university. So we did like an hour long. I've done it as a presentation and that sort of thing. But I thought a hands-on workshop would be really fun because then all the people who can come along, we can talk about their specific books and come up with plans and finding everybody's the things that they're really interested in, the things that
Mm,
their secret talents, I think, is something where you can make a crowdfunding campaign or a book release unique and special to them by bringing in what their
mm.
resources and networks are. And so everybody's different. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to have so much fun. And I'm going to bring a whole sack of all my goodies that I've worked on over the years as examples. And yeah, so
Amazing.
I'm
So
really looking
people can
forward to
check
it.
out ideas for merch.
Exactly, because there are so many possibilities, and I think it's something that can be a bit overwhelming for a lot of people. You hear
I'm
about the
feeling overwhelmed
authors.
just thinking about it.
Well, you hear about the authors who every now and then a publisher has an author that the big bestsellers, and they have some kind of cool tie-in with a bookshop where you buy a book from a particular bookshop and you get a specialty pin, or you get a special edition of a book from a book box. And it just seems out of reach and like something you only get if you're picked.
Yeah.
But you can take control as an author, whether you are with traditional publisher or you're publishing yourself, and you can make your own cool stuff and then share it with your readers. And I think it helps make a different connection to readers. If they're
Mhm.
interested in stuff beyond just reading your story,
Well, building
then
community as
yeah,
well, like, because that
absolutely.
can be a challenge these days. Like, social media is a great tool for building community, but also it sometimes feels like you're just posting into the abyss and nobody actually sees what you're
Yeah,
posting. And I think you have to be creative and think of different ways to connect with people that's a
we
little
do.
bit outside the box.
I think we're moving away from this mass social media thing because it is becoming so impersonal. And I know a lot of authors now who are retreating into quieter spaces, into things like shared discords or smaller communities where they can make more real connections with maybe a fewer number of readers, or going to events and making connections with people on a one-on-one level.
Mm.
Because I know, I think we're all just burnt out from trying to talk to all the millions of people who might buy our books. And
Yeah,
it's at a
when you
stage where
really
you
just want to
actually,
speak to the people who do buy your books.
yeah, exactly, and have like a more interesting conversation maybe, and also be able to offer them a better connection than something, Yeah, I know. I always think of the TV writer Russell T Davies, who referred to someday we'll look back on this as that decade where we all just typed at each other. And he
Yes.
was talking about like the early 2000s, like the blogging era. And now we're in the short form, we're coming out of the Twitter era and the short form trying to be terribly witty constantly while people are looking at you era. And I
Mm.
think we're still trying to figure out what's coming next.
Well,
But
video
yeah,
seems to be very popular at the moment. If you do, like TikTok doing those short
yeah.
videos, and I just don't have any coordination to do a dance on TikTok, so it's not
I'm
happening.
just waiting for it to be over so I can like do the next thing.
Yes.
I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to skip this one. And admittedly, it has lasted a bit longer than I was expecting. But no, I'm
Will
not a bit. But
TikTok ever
you
end?
know, people under 30, like my kids, my kids are Gen Z, and they, almost everything they consume online is video based. So there's that too. It's becoming a generational thing. But yeah, I don't
And
know.
I think
What are
our
the next
attention
things?
spans are shorter, but I'm also a member of a lot of like online book clubs, and there are voracious readers out there still. So you just need to connect with your tribe, I think.
Exactly. You've got to find your specific weird little group of people who are interested in your stuff instead of trying to appeal to absolutely everybody. I mean, I think that's the most interesting writers are the ones that are not worried about appealing to everybody. And if it does, it's a surprise because actually they're just aiming it at like, the 10 other people in the world who are equally interested in historical pirates fashion tips, or whatever.
For any listeners who would like to come along to your workshop on Friday, can they still book a spot?
I believe there are still spots open. Yeah, so when you sign up, you have the option to sign up for the workshops.
Cool.
I've actually been looking
So,
at all the other workshops that are available, and I wish I could do some of
oh
them. They look
no.
really cool.
But
I can't.
okay, so genrecon.com.au, they can check
Uh,
out. That's
yeah.
what I'm looking at.
Then I'm just gonna nod and smile and say
Yep,
sure.
yep, yep. Um, you get the advantage of getting some one-on-one time with some of those presenters in the green room, though, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
don't fear that you're
It's
missing out.
No, it will be very exciting. And I'm just so looking forward to like meeting new people and because like I said, I haven't done this for a few years now. I used to go to mainland conventions once or twice a year and I really haven't done much of it in the last 5 years. So I've got to remember how to talk to people while being out in
Oh, yes.
public.
Not being,
And I'm so
I'm
excited
always
to
very
catch up with
awkward. So,
I'm excited. I'm going to find, see people I haven't seen for years and meet some new people. And there's that other awkward thing of people you technically know because you've talked to them online, but you may not have actually met them in person and you don't
yes.
always remember which it is until you're faced with them. The
And it
number of
can be
times I've
embarrassing
said,
when you
"Great
know
to meet
too
you."
much about a person. It's like,
You
oh,
do.
okay.
Yeah.
We're only virtual friends, not face-to-face friends. And I know way too much about you.
Or even worse, you haven't interacted online at all, but you still know who that person is and you have no idea whether they know who you are. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's, many layers of awkward to being
It's a strange
being
new
an author these
world.
days. It is. It
Now, are
is.
you going to the launch event on Friday night?
I think so, yes. I've ticked all the things. I believe I will be there.
Do you have a
I have not
costume
planned my
planned?
I have not planned my costume.
I
Let's
haven't
say
either. I've got
outfit.
to
I
get.
don't think costume is going to be on the cards, but I have, a large variety of beautiful art silk scarves that usually
Oh, amazing.
can serve to make to fancy up my my traveling capsule wardrobe.
The last event I went to for GenreCon where there was a costume, I went big. And I think I'll be letting everyone down this year.
No, you see, you can't buy into other people's expectations. But
That's
yeah, it's
true.
hard to
That's
go
true.
big when you are traveling interstate.
Yes.
You gotta be able to fit things. I've seen cosplayers who can do amazing things with suitcases, but I am not that person. If
No.
I if I turn up and I'm, fully dressed and
able to people. That's the
Able to
thing
people.
to do.
That's all anyone can expect of me. I'm already making a great sacrifice as a Tasmanian traveling to Queensland
Coming to the
at the end of
mainland.
February, which
It's going to be
I'm a little bit
warm.
scared about. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a bit of a delicate English rose, and I live in Brisbane, so
Ooh,
every day
yes.
is terrible for me.
I
Um,
sympathize.
but I do love Brisbane, so that's why I endure the heat. But
Look, I do too. I'm excited to be going back. I've always had a great time. I've only ever, I think, come to Brisbane for book events, and I always have a wonderful time. So it's exciting.
amazing. GenreCon is such a wonderful event. There's lots of fun things to do, great workshops run by wonderful authors like yourself, and then fantastic panels as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping lots of people will be there. I'm looking forward to connecting with friends, and fellow writers, and I'll make sure I come and say hello to you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, absolutely. And the space is so cool. Like the library that you have
Yes, it's great.
is just such a wonderful space to hang out in.
We take it for
Very
granted
much,
a little bit, I think, because we
yeah.
can hang out there every week if we want.
But it is, it's beautiful. I am very much hoping that it is air conditioned. Um,
There'll be some air-conditioned spots for you to take shelter.
fantastic, fantastic. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I look forward to meeting you at GenreCon, and I'm hoping to hear how much everybody loves your workshop and your panels. So
Thank
thank you so
you.
much.